Hello Internet. So this week I'm cracking open booster box for Yu-Gi-Oh's newest set, Blazing Vortex. Now I know this is came out over a week ago. Funny story, I was actually planning on picking this up and recording it and getting it on the Thursday and getting it uploaded for the following Saturday. Unfortunately, work was really short-handed. They really needed people to work on the Thursday, and so by the time I got out of work, the local game store had closed, and because I was already scheduled to work Friday, I wasn't able to actually pick this up until the Saturday after. So, I mean, the store opens after my videos go live, so I wouldn't have had enough time to get it, film it, record it, and get it uploaded. But anyways, so I'll just get this opened up, and I'll see you all in a few moments. Okay, so we're back, and we'll just get right into it. I know that they do have Starlight Rares make a return in this set. Don't think I'm going to pull any, but, I mean, it'd be nice if I do. So we have Armed Dragon Lightning. If an Armed Dragon monster you control would be destroyed by card effect, you can send this card to the graveyard instead. Oh, that's always nice. You can target one Armed Dragon monster you control, activate one of these effects, gains attack equal to its level times 100, or add one Armed Dragon monster with an equal or lower level than it from your graveyard to your hand. You can only use this effect once per turn. We have Parametalfoes Fusion. Fusion summon one Metalfoes Fusion monster from your extra deck using up to one monster each from your hand, field, and or face-up extra deck as fusion material. That's not bad. Guitar Grenades Duo Nijus. If it's special summoned, you can banish cards from the top of your opponent's deck equal to the number of water monsters you control. You can target one level 4 or water monster you control, increase its level by its original level. Huh. You can banish this card from your graveyard. One water monster on the field gains 100 attack for each currently banished monster until the end of this turn. You can only use each effect once per turn. I mean, that's not too bad if you're running a lot of banishment. Spriggan's Branga. If this card is in your hand, field, or graveyard, you can target one Spriggan's Xyz monster you control, attach this card to it as materials. You can banish this card and one Spriggan's monster with a different name from your graveyard. Add one Spriggan's card from your deck to your hand. You can only use each effect once per turn. Windwitch Chimes. Target one Windwitch monster you control. Special summon one Windwitch monster with a different name from your deck in defense position. You can only activate Windwitch Chimes per turn. You cannot special summon monsters the turn you activate this except for wind monsters. Machina Unclasper? If this card is added to your hand except by drawing it, you can special summon it. Also, you cannot special summon for the rest of this turn except machine monsters. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can send one Machina monster from your deck to the graveyard. Except Machina Unclasper, you can only use each effect once per turn. Spriggan's Pedor. You can tribute this card, then target one Spriggan's monster in your graveyard, except Spriggan's Pedor. Special summon it. If this card is in your hand, field, or graveyard, you can target one Spriggan's Xyz monster you control, attach this card to it as material. You have Arcfiend's Staff of Despair. Equip only to a monster you control. During your main phase, you can make all monsters your opponent control lose attack equal to half the equipped monster's attack until the end of this turn, even if this card leaves the field. If this card is sent to the graveyard while equipped to a monster, you can pay 1,000 life points to return this card to your hand. I mean, that's just being able to reduce all of your opponent's monsters' attack by half is quite nice. We have Warrock Orpus. If you control no monsters or all monsters you control are warrior monsters, you can normal summon this card without tributing. If your Earth Warrior monster battles after damage calculation, you can send one Earth Warrior monster from your deck to the graveyard. Other than Warrock Orpus, then all Warrock monsters you currently control gain 200 attack until the end of your opponent's turn. Not quite sure how I feel about that last ability. I mean, the fact that you can special summon him, or normal summon him without tributing isn't too bad, but, because it's already after damage calculation. Yeah, not sure how I feel about him. We have another Guitar Grenades, Fairy Archer in Guinar. Huh, she's a plant. That's interesting. Cannot attack this card. Cannot attack the turn this card is special summoned. If this card is special summoned by the effect of a plant monster, you can target one level 6 or higher plant monster in your graveyard, special summon it in defense position. Also, you cannot special summon for the rest of this turn, except plant monsters. I mean, that's not too bad. If you bring her out with a special summon, if you special summon her from a plant monster, you can bring out another plant monster with her. Now, I'm not quite sure when it comes to the rules if, because it says Fairy Archer and Gleaner. I'm pretty sure that means that you can't say use her, like special summon her to bring out another copy of her from the graveyard, to bring out another copy of her from the graveyard, but I mean, you can still bring out 2 of her, so. We have Dogmatica Genesis. Target 1 banished, fusion, synchro, Xyz, or link monster, and 1 effect monster your opponent controls of the same type. Return that banished monster to the extra deck, and if you do, negate the effects of that monster your opponent controls. Giga Thunder Gyclops. Once per turn, you can target 1 pendulum monster you control and 1 monster your opponent controls. Change their battle positions. Fair enough. If this card is special summoned from the extra deck, is used as synchro material, banish it. If this card is normal summoned, you can change its battle position. You can only use each of the following effects once per turn. If the battle position of this card is changed, you can target 1 face-up spell or trap on the field to destroy it. If this card is destroyed in the Pendulum Zone, you can return 1 card from your Pendulum Zone to the hand. We have Fabled Andwraith. If it's special summoned, your opponent can discard 1 card to negate this effect, otherwise you can draw 2 cards, then discard 1 card. Oh, that's not bad. If a monster is sent from your opponent's hand to the graveyard, you can target 1 of those monsters, special summon it to your field, but negate its effects. You can only use each effect once per turn. We have Spriggan's Captain Sargas. If this card is in your hand, field, or graveyard, you can target 1 Spriggan's Xyz monster you control, attach this card to it as material. During your opponent's turn, you can detach 1 material from an Xyz monster you control, target 1 face-up card on the field, destroy it. You can only use each of the previous effects once per turn. A Spriggan's Xyz monster that has this card as material gains this effects. This card gains 500 attack. Armed Dragon Blitz. Target 1 Armed Dragon monster you control. Take 1 monster with the same name from your deck or graveyard, either add it to your hand or special summon it, ignoring its summoning conditions, but it cannot attack directly. You can only activate 1 Armed Dragon Blitz per turn. You cannot special summon monsters the turn you activate this card except dragon monsters. So, it's quite nice. It lets you bring out the higher level monsters for, pretty sure that would let you bring out the higher level monsters for free. War Rock Orpus and Tilted Try. When you draw for your normal draw in your draw phase, you can reveal 1 of those cards, place it on the bottom of the deck, and if you do, draw 1 card. When you draw by a card effect, you can reveal 1 of those cards, send that card to the graveyard, and if you do, place that card on the bottom of the deck, and if you do, draw 1 card. It's quite an interesting one for fixing your, help fix your draws a bit. Oh, that pack was not wanting to open. Icy Breeze Refrain. Activate 1 of the following effects. Target 1 Wind Witch monster in your graveyard, special summon it in defense position. And when your opponent activates a card or effect in response to your Wind Witch monster's effect activation, negate that opponent's effect. You can only activate 1 Icy Breeze Refrain per turn. Nearoi, the Dream Mirror Disciple. If a Dream Mirror monster is on the field, you can special summon this card from your hand, then you can make this card become dark. If this card is special summoned by the effects of a Dream Mirror monster, activate this effect. If Dream Mirror of Joy is on the field, you can return one spell or trap your opponent controls to the hand. And after that, if Dream Mirror of Terror is on the field, draw one card, then shuffle one card from your hand into the deck. You can only use each effect once per turn. I mean, it's a bit of a shame that it's, if I'm reading this correctly, you have to have Joy out on the field before you can use the Terror Mirrors effect, but still, it's not bad. Warrock Skylar gains 100 attack for each monster your opponent controls. During a battle phase in which your Earth Warrior monster battles, you can target one level 5 or warrior monster in your graveyard, special summon it. Also, all Warrock monsters you currently control gain 200 attack until the end of your opponent's turn. Also, for the rest of this turn, you cannot attack directly with level 5 or lower monsters. I mean, it'd be pretty good with Orlok. S-Force Professor Daigama. Each of your opponent's monsters in the same column as one of your S-Force monsters cannot change its battle position. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can target one face-up monster your opponent controls, change its battle position. You can only use this effect once per turn. I mean, decent enough. We have Eldritch, the Mad Golden Lord. This card names become Eldritch, the Golden Lord while on the field. Cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects. You contribute one zombie monster, then target one face-up monster your opponent controls. Take control of it, but it cannot attack or activate its effects this turn. You can only use this effect once per turn. I mean, very good for getting rid of any problem cards your opponent has. We have Warrock Ordeal. You can only control one Warrock Ordeal. While this card is activated, place 3 counters on it. When your Warrock monster destroys an opponent's monster by battle and sends it to their graveyard, you can remove 1 counter from this card, and if you do, draw 1 card. If the last counter has been removed by this effect, send this card to the graveyard. So, decent way of getting some extra card draw at least. We have Wind Witch Blizzard Bell. If you control no monsters, or all monsters you control are Wind Witch monsters, you can normal summon this card without tributing. During the opponent's main phase, if you control a Wind Witch monster other than Blizzard Bell, you can send this card from your hand or field to the graveyard, inflict 500 damage to your opponent. You can only use this effect once per turn. We have another Captain Sargas and Ojama Pink. If this card is sent from the hand or field to the graveyard, you can activate this effect. Each player draws 1 card, then each player discards 1 card. Then if you discarded an Ojama card, you can choose one opponent's unused monster zone, and it cannot be used until the end of your opponent's turn. So, more Ojama stuff locking down your opponent's board. We have Reinforcement of the Army's Troops. When an attack is declared involving your warrior monster, you can special summon 1 level 4 or lower warrior monster from your hand. You can only use this effect once per turn. Armor Dragon Ritual. It's used to ritual summon Knight of Armor Dragon. You must also tribute monsters from your hand or field whose total levels equals 4 or more. During your main phase, except the turn this card was sent to the graveyard, you can banish monsters from your hand or face-up field whose total levels equal 4 or more. Banish this card from your graveyard, and if you do, special summon 1 Knight of Armored Dragon from your graveyard. So, I mean, I do like how this is actually letting you reuse both the ritual and the monster. So that's pretty nice compared to the old rituals. Ancient Warrior Saga, Chivalrous Path. If an Ancient Warrior's monster would be destroyed by battle, you can send this card to the graveyard instead. You can only use each of the following effects once per turn. If your opponent special summons a monster, except during the damage step, you can special summon 1 Ancient Warrior's token. When a card or effect that is activated that targets an Ancient Warrior's monster on the field, you can banish this card from your graveyard, negate the activation. And speaking of, we have Knight of Armor Dragon. You can use the Armor Dragon ritual to ritual summon him. At the start of the damage step, if this card battles a monster that was special summoned from the extra deck, you can shuffle that monster into the deck. You can tribute this card, special summon one level 5 or higher Wind Dragon monster from your hand or deck. You can only use each effect once per turn. I mean, it's decent enough. We have Wind Witch Diamond Bell. If this card is synchro summoned, you can target one Wind Witch monster in your graveyard, inflict damage to your opponent equal to half its attack. You can only use this effect once per turn. Once per turn, if your opponent takes battle or effect damage, you can target one card on the field, destroy it. If you control this card that was synchro summoned using only Wind Witch monsters as material, you can use this effect up to twice per turn. I mean, seems quite nice. You have Spriggan's Blast. Choose one, if you control a Spriggan's monster, choose one opponent's main monster zone. If a monster is face up in that zone during this turn, it cannot attack directly. Also, its effects are negated. If no monster is in that zone, it cannot be used this turn. If you control a fusion monster that lists Fallen of Albaz as material, you can choose 2 zones instead. You can only activate 1 Spriggan Blast per turn. I mean, it's quite nice in that you're targeting the zone, not the monster, and even if it doesn't have a monster in it, you can still shut it down, which is nice. Digital Bug Registrator cannot be used as an Xyz material for an Xyz summon, except the Xyz summon of an insect monster. When you normal summon a level 3 insect monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. Then you can make both this card and that monster level 5 or 7. Huh. If this card is special summoned from the hand, you can change the battle position of one insect monster you control. An Xyz monster that was summoned using this card on the field gains this effect. Gains 1000 attack and defense. So that's quite nice for... like, it could only be used for insect Xyz monsters, but still the fact that it's level 3, 5, or 7, and you just need another level 3 insect for him to kick off is quite nice. We have Sprind the Iron Dash Dragon. During your main phase, you can move this card you control to another of your main monster zones. Then you can destroy all other face-up cards in this card's column. During the end phase, if this card in the graveyard, because it was sent through this turn, you can add it to your hand or special summon one Spriggan's monster or one Fallen of Albaz from your deck. You can only use each effect once per turn. That seems quite nice. And we have another Blizzard Bell. We have Fabled Marcosia. If this card is in your hand, you can discard up to 2 monsters except Fabled Marcosia, but including another Fabled monster. And if you do, special summon this card. If summoned this way, this card gains 200 attack for each monster discarded. If this card is discarded to the graveyard, add 1 Fabled spell or trap from your deck to your hand. You can only use each effect once per turn. So, I mean, the fact that... I mean, it can come into play as a 2100 level 4 monster for, I mean, not too bad of an effect, or cost either. That's not bad. Parametalfoes Metalcaster, or Melcaster. Once per turn, you can target one other face-up card you control, destroy it, and if you do, set 1 Metalfoes spell or trap directly from your deck. If this card on the field is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can add 1 face-up Metalfoes Pendulum monster from your extra deck to your hand, except Parametalfoes Melcaster, but you cannot activate it or cards with its name to place it in the pendulum zones for the rest of this turn except by card effect. You can only use this effect once per turn. We have Pendulum Encore. During your opponent's main phase, you can discard 1 card. Immediately after this effect resolves, Pendulum summon a Pendulum monster. Also for the rest of this turn after this card effect resolves in your pendulum zones, cannot activate their effects and cannot be destroyed by your card effects. Also shuffle them into the deck during the end phase. S-Force Showdown. You can either special summon an S-Force monster from your hand in defense position, or target an S-Force monster in your graveyard, add it to your hand. I mean, decent enough. We have Warrock Gactos. If an Earth Warrior monster is normal summoned to your field, you can special summon this card from your hand. If this card is sent from your monster zone to the graveyard by an opponent's card effect, you can special summon one level 5 or higher War Rock monster from your hand or deck. You can only use this effect once per turn. So, I mean, not bad. Brings himself out when you bring out another, it's any Earth Warrior monster, so it's pretty nice. Another digital bug. We have Tri-Brigade Rendezvous. Target any number of linked Beast, Beast Warrior, and or Winged Beast monsters you control. They gain 700 attack until the end of this turn. If a linked Beast, Beast Warrior, or Winged Beast monster you control would be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can banish this card from your graveyard instead. Another Sprint the Iron Dash Dragon. And Breath of Acclamation. This card can be used to ritual summon any wind ritual monster. You must also tribute monsters from your hand or field whose total levels equal the level of the ritual monster you ritual summon. So, quite nice then that it's for literally any wind monster. Or wind ritual monster, I should say, but... We have Heavy Metal Foes Amalgam. If this card is sent from the monster zone to the graveyard by a card effect, you can activate one of these effects. Target one Metal Foes monster you control, equip this card to it, it gains 1000 attack. And target one Metal Foes card you control, destroy it, and if you do, special summon this card. I mean, interesting enough effects. We have another Melcaster. Dual Avatar Ascendance. Target one dual avatar monster you control, destroy it, and if you do, special summon one dual avatar monster from your deck or extra deck whose original level is one higher or one lower than the monster had on the field. During your main phase, except the turn this card was sent to the graveyard, you can banish this card from your graveyard, target one dual avatar monster in your graveyard, add it to your hand. We have another Dreammare Disciple. We have Metal Foes Vanisher. If a monster you control is destroyed by card effect, except during the damage step, you can add one Metal Foes card from your graveyard to your hand, except Vanisher. You can only use this effect once per turn. And when this card is in your hand, you can target two face-up cards you control, including a Metal Foes card, destroy them, and if you do, special summon this card from your hand. If this card is special summoned by the effect of a Metal Foes card, you can target one monster your opponent controls, or in their graveyard, banish it. You can only use each effect once per turn. So, I mean, it's basically you can use spell or traps as well for tribute summoning them, and it counts as a special summon instead, which is actually pretty nice. Another War Rock Ordeal. We have Raging Storm Dragon, Beaufort 9. Okay, is it supposed to be 9 or is it X? I'm going to assume 9 because it's caps. You can ritual summon this card with Breath of Acclamation. When an opponent's monster declares a direct attack, you can discard this card, negate the attack, and if you do, negate that monster's effect. Quick effect, you can target one face-up monster your opponent controls, return both that monster and this card to the hand. You can only use each effect once per turn. We have another Unclasped Bear. We have Amano Kujaki. You cannot activate the effects of other special summon monsters with the same attribute as this card. Once per turn during the main phase of this card's owner. Quick effect, you can give control of this card to your opponent. Then you, the activating player, can make this card become any attribute until the end of the next turn. That's interesting card at the very least. We have another Dual Avatar Ascendant, another Amalgam, Pendulum Encore, Knight of Armor Dragon. We have Armed Dragon Thunderbolt. Target one armed dragon monster you control. It gains 1000 attack for each armed dragon monster in your graveyard with an equal or lower level than it, and with different names from each other. Also, for the rest of this turn, your opponent takes no battle damage from its attacks. You can banish this card from your graveyard, then target one armed dragon spell in your graveyard, add it to your hand. That's interesting. We have another Tilted Try. Dream Mirror Recap. If a Dream Mirror monster you control be tributed to activate its own effect, shuffle it into the deck instead of sending it to the graveyard. During the main phase, you can send this face-up card to the graveyard, place one of your Dream Mirror of Joy or Dream Mirror of Terror that is banished or in your graveyard face-up in your field zone. Then you can special summon one monster from your hand that specifically lists that card you placed in its text. Another Tri-Brigade Rendezvous. And Synchro Transmission. During the main phase, immediately after this effect resolves, synchro summon one synchro monster using monsters you control as material. During your main phase, except the turn this card was sent to the graveyard. You can banish this card from your graveyard, then target one synchro monster in your graveyard, return it to the extra deck, then draw one card. You can only use each effect once per turn. Huh. I'm really not sure how I feel about that one. We have another Professor D. Gamma. Another Fabled Marcosia. Melcaster. Pendulum Encore. Armed Dragon Thunder level 5. Name becomes Armed Dragon level 5 while on the field or in the graveyard. You can only use each of the effects once per turn. You can send one monster from your hand to the graveyard, send this card from the field to the graveyard, and if you do, special summon one level 4 or lower, or level 7 or lower armored dragon monster from your hand or deck. If this card is sent to the graveyard to activate a dragon monster's effect, you can add one level 5 or higher wind dragon monster from your deck to your hand. Yeah, I mean, it's the upgraded Armed Dragon level 5. It's quite nice. The Fabled Abank. If this card is in your graveyard, you can discard one Fabled monster, and if you do, special summon this card, but banish it when it leaves the field. You can only use this effect once per turn. Virtual World Gate Xuanwu? During the battle phase, if you control another Virtual World Gate card, you can target one face-up monster on the field, change its battle position. During your main phase, you can banish this card from your graveyard, target one Virtual World monster in your graveyard, special summon it, but negate its effects, then send one card from your hand to the graveyard. You can only use each effect once per turn. You can only activate one Virtual World Gate per turn. We have another Raging Storm Dragon, and another Spriggan's Pedor. We have another Ancient Warrior Saga, Chivalrous Path, Marcosa. We have Spriggan's Call. Target one Spriggan's monster or Fallen of Albaz in your graveyard. Special summon it. During the main phase, except the turn this card was sent to the graveyard. You can banish this card and one fusion monster from your graveyard. Target one Spriggan's Xyz monster you control. Attach one fusion monster that lists Fallen of Albaz as material from your extra deck to that monster as material. Another Giga Thunder Cyclops. We have Materiacator Gigaboros. Gains 500 attack and defense for each card in your hand. You can only use each of the following effects once per turn. You can detach one material from this card, attach one Materiacator monster from your deck to this card as material, and during your opponent's main or battle phase, you can add one card attached to this card to the hand. That's certainly interesting. We have Radiant Vorescence. When this card is normal summoned while your opponent controls a monster, you can discard one card, send any number of Radiant Vorescence from your deck to the graveyard. Once per turn, if this card is in your graveyard, you can make this card in the graveyard become dark until the end of the turn. I mean, if nothing else, it's good for Chaos decks. Another Breath of Acclamation. Another Virtual World Gate. And Stairway to a Fabled Realm. Focus, please. When this card is activated, you can send one Fabled monster from your deck to the graveyard. You can target one Fabled monster in your graveyard, discard 2 cards, and if you do, add that monster to your hand. You can only use this effect once per turn. If your Fabled monster attacks an opponent's monster and you have less cards in your hand than your opponent, your monster gains attack equal to the difference in the number of cards times 200 during damage calculation only. That's interesting at the very least. I have another S4 Showdown, Spriggan's Call, Reinforcement of the Army's Troops, Spriggan Rocky. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can target one Great Sandsea Gold Golgonda or one Spriggan's monster in your graveyard, except Spriggan's Rocky, add it to your hand. If this card is in your hand, field, or graveyard, you can target one Spriggan's Xyz monster you control, attach this card to it as material. It's pretty nice. We have Live Twin Lila Treat. If you control a Ki Sikil monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. You can only special summon once per turn this way. When either player takes damage from a battle involving an evil twin monster, you can banish this card from your graveyard, then target one face-up monster your opponent controls. It loses attack equal to that battle damage. You can only use this effect once per turn. I'm assuming the idea behind this is that they didn't actually go ahead and just straight up kill off, because it was, what was it, Lil La and Kisa Kill were the 2 pop stars. I know it says she's a zombie. I'm pretty sure that this is just supposed to be a, I'm guessing like a in-universe, like Halloween thing. Machina Unclasper, Spriggan's Blast, Fabled Treason. Target one Fabled monster in your graveyard and one face-up card on the field. Discard 1 card, and if you do, special summon that monster from your graveyard. And if you do, destroy that card on the field. You can only activate 1 Fabled Treasons per turn. And Amano Kujaki. We have Steel Star Regulator. Gains attack equal to the combined original levels or ranks of monsters used for its link summon times 100. You can target one non-link monster your opponent controls with attack less than or equal to this card. Destroy it. Then if this card was link summoned using an Xyz monster as material, inflict damage to your opponent equal to half the destroyed monster's original attack. We have Spriggan's Branga. If it's in your hand, field, or graveyard, you can target one Spriggan's Xyz monster you control, attach this. Wait, he was in the first pack, wasn't he? Yeah. Professor Daigama. In Guinar, we have Tri-Brigand Kit. You can banish any number of Beast, Beast Warrior, and or Winged Beast monsters in your graveyard. Special summon one Beast, Beast Warrior, or Winged Beast Link monster from your extra deck with Link rating equal to the number of banished. Also, you can only use Beast, Beast Warrior, and Winged Beast monsters as link material for the rest of this turn. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you can send one Tri-Brigade card from your deck to the graveyard, except Tri-Brigade Kit. You can only use each effect once per turn. I mean, seems like a decent enough effect. Fabled Abank, Fabled Treason, Archfiend's Staff of Despair, and Spriggan's Blast. Another Steel Star Regulator, Spriggan Branga, Icy Breeze Refrain, Fabled Marcosa, with Oniros, the Dream Mirror Tormentor. While face up on the field, this card is also a light attribute. You can only use each of the following effects once per turn. When a monster effect is activated while Dream Mirror of Terror is in the field zone, you can negate that effect. And if Dream Mirror of Joy is in a field zone, Quick effect, you can tribute this card. Special summon 1 Oneros, the Dream Mirror Earl King from your extra deck in defense position. I have Stairway to a Fabled Realm, Tri-Brigade Rendezvous, Archfiend Staff of Despair, and Radiant Fluorescence. We have another Dogmatic Genesis, Parametal Foes Fusion, S4 Showdown, Neroy the Dreammare Disciple, Warrock Mountain. When this card is activated, you can add 1 Warrock monster from your deck to your hand. At the start of the battle phase, if you control no monsters, or all monsters you control are warrior monsters, you can special summon 1 Warrock monster from your hand with a different name than the cards you control. If your warrior monsters would be destroyed by battle, you can send this card to the graveyard instead. You can only activate 1 Warrock Mountain per turn. We have another Blizzard Bell, Warrock Ordeal, Beaufort 9, and Unclasped Bear. We have another Fairy Archer, Armed Dragon Lightning, Parametal Foes Fusion, Guitar Gernad's Diogenes, 7 Cities of the Golden Land. Hang on one second. Okay, no, it is just a really odd misprint on the gold foil on the S there. Couldn't tell if it was an odd misprint or if it was actually like doing some sort of serpent design on the S. During your main phase, you can fusion summon 1 fusion monster from your extra deck using only zombie monsters from your hand or field as fusion material. If a zombie monster is special summoned by card effects, except during the damage step, you can target 1 set card in a spell or trap zone. That set card cannot be activated this turn, even if this card leaves the field. You can only use each effect once per turn. Another Digital Bug, Tri-Brigade Rendezvous, Sprint the Iron Dash Dragon, and Breath of Acclamation. Reinforcement of the Army's Troops, Linear Equation Cannon. During battle phase, declare a whole number from 1 to 6, choose 1 effect monster your opponent controls, multiply the effect's level times the declared number, then add the number of cards your opponent controls, and check if the result equals the number of cards in your graveyard. If yes, send cards from the top of your graveyard to the deck up to the declared number, and if you do, shuffle cards your opponent controls into the deck up to the number sent to the graveyard. If no, you lose life points equal to the declared number times 500. Ow. My brain. I'm just doing mental math on what because you choose a number from 1 to 6, then you multiply the opponent's effect monster level by that number, plus the number of monsters they have on the field, and that has to equal the number of cards in your graveyard. Hey, if you have a card that, if you ever have a need for getting rid of a lot of your life points fast, this is the card for you. I mean, you could lose 3,000 life points a turn with it. Armed Dragon Lightning, Spriggan's Rocky, Tri-Brigade Kit, Amano Kujaki, S-Force Specimen. If your opponent controls a monster, target one of your S-Force monsters that is banished or in your graveyard, special summon it to your field in the same column as an opponent's monster. You can banish this card from your graveyard, then target 1 S-Force monster you control, move that target to another of your main monster zones. You can only use 1 S-Force Specimen effect per turn, and only once that turn. Armed Dragon Blitz, and Pedor. We have another Bronga, Icy Breeze Refrain, the Dream Mirror Disciple, Warrock Skylar, Dragoonity Knight, Gormfabar. When this card is synchro summoned, you can target one Dragoonity tuner in your graveyard, equip it to this card. Quick effect, you can send one equip card you control that is equipped to this card to the graveyard, then target up to 2 cards in your opponent's graveyard, banish them. You can only use each effect once per turn. I mean, it's not bad effects. Ojama Pink, Synchro Transmission, S4 Specimen, and Dream Mirror Recap. This pack seems this set seems a bit heavy on the traps overall. Guitar Grenades Duogenes, Fairy Archer, Dogmatica Genesis, Gyclops. We have another Oneros the Dream Mirror Tormentor, Spriggan's Pedor, Machina Unclaspar, Spriggan's Blast, Fabled Treason. I have another Dream Mirror Disciple, Reinforcement of the Army's Troops, Linear Equation Cannon, Armed Dragon Lightning, Spriggan's Watch. Add one Great Sandsea Gold Golgonda from your deck to your hand. If it is in your field zone, you can apply this effect instead. Add one Spriggan's Monster from your deck to your hand, and if you do, send one Spriggan's Monster from your deck to the graveyard. You can only activate one Spriggan's Watch per turn. I mean, it's not too bad of an effect. You know, either lets you basically treat it as a very limited terraforming, or if you already have it out on the field, you get another effect out of it. It's not bad. Radiant Fluorescence, Breath of Acclamation, Virtual World Gate, and Stairway to a Fabled Realm. We have Reinforcement of the Army's Troops, Armored Dragon Ritual, Ancient Warrior Saga, Knight of Armored Dragon, Maha Vilo Light of Heavens. This card gains the following effects based on the number of equipped cards equipped to it. 1+ gains 1000 attack for each equipped card equipped to it. 2+, your opponent cannot activate monster effects during the battle phase. 3+, when your opponent's card or effect is activated that targets this card, you can send one equipped card from you control to the graveyard and negate that effect. 4+, your opponent cannot activate cards or effects during the battle phase. And 5+, any battle damage this card inflicts to your opponent is doubled. I mean, terrible stats, but considering he gets an extra 1000 attack for every equipped card on him, you know, I mean, shouldn't complain about his terrible stats. Amano Kujaki, Stairway to a Fabled Realm, Tri-Brigade Rendezvous, and Archfiend Staff of Despair. We have another Spriggan's Rocky, Dual Avatar Ascendant, Amalgam, Pendulum Encore, S-Force Platina. Each of your opponent's monsters in the same column as one of your S-Force monsters loses 600 attack. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can target one of your banished S-Force monsters except for S-Force Platina. Special summon it. The Fabled Abank, Fabled Treason, Archfiend Staff of Despair, and Spriggan's Blast. packs left. We have Heavy Metal Foes Amalgam, Parametal Foes Melcaster, Dual Avatar Ascendants, Neroy the Dreammare Disciple, Warrock Fortia. If your Earth Warrior monster battles after damage calculation, you can add one Warrock card from your deck to your hand. Except Fortia, then all Warrock monsters you currently control gain 200 attack. If this card is sent from your monster zone to your graveyard by an opponent's card effect, you can special summon one level 5 or higher Warrior Warrock monster from your hand or deck. You can only use each effect once per turn. Radiant Fluorescence, Captain Sargas, Armed Dragon Blitz, and Orpus. I have Knight of Armored Dragon, Ancient Warrior Saga Chivalrous Path, Fabled Marcosia, Spriggan's Call, White Baking. This card's name becomes Skull Servant while in the graveyard. If a level 3 or lower zombie monster you control will be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can destroy this card instead. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you can add 2 monsters with different names from your deck to your hand except White Baking that are either Skull Servant or specifically list Skull Servant in their text, and discard one of each effect once per turn. So, more support for the Skull Servant archetype. That was always an entertaining one. Machina Unclaspar, Spriggan's Pedor, Archfiend's Staff of Despair, and Warrock Orpus. Linear Equation Cannon, Warrock Skylar, Giga Thunder Gyclops, Armored Dragon Ritual, Constellar Caduceus. If you control a Constellar monster, except Constellar Caduceus, you can special summon this card from your hand. During your main phase, you can add one Constellar trap or spell from your deck to your hand. You can only use each effect once per turn. A Constellar Xyz monster that has this card as material gains this effect. If this card battles a light or dark monster before damage calculation, you can banish that monster. Tilted Try, Spriggan's Blast, Digital Budge Registrator, and Sprin the Iron Dash Dragon. Always interesting how light and dark seem to be the two major... like if there's specific archetype hate, it seems to be light and dark, or those two tend to be the ones that can flip between the two. We have Giga Thunder Gyclops, Steel Star Regulator, Spriggan's Branga, S-Force Professor Daigama, Materiacator Gigadra. You can discard one card, special summon one level 3 or normal monster from your hand or deck, or if you discard a normal monster, to activate this effect, you can special summon one Matricator monster instead. You can only use this effect once per turn. You cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck except Xyz monsters. I mean, if nothing else, quite nice that she sets up for a level 3 play. Or a level 3 Xyz, I should say. Warrock Ordeal, Wind Witch Blizzard Bell, Spriggan's Captain Sargas, and Ojama Pink. So, thank you for watching, and you know the routine. If you like this video, please like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you all later.